Let's do this.
All right, we are live. Apostate Prophet, it is great to have you here.
Oh, hello. Thank you.
Yes.
The pleasure is all mine.
Yes. So this is a stream celebrating my 1,000 days of being sober. So that's pretty cool. I actually looked it up the other day just to see kind of like how many days it had been. So I stopped drinking on January 1st of 2023, and I looked it up, and today is 1,000 days. Today is September 27th, 2025.
Why did you stop drinking?
Pretty cool. I stopped because I was drinking too much. Uh, that's why. And I can also explain why I was drinking so much. So I don't know that I would have like considered myself an alcoholic, but I was drinking because, I mean, something we were just talking about before we started was how we kind of both have headaches. And I was medicating those headaches with alcohol. So alcohol
Oh,
is pretty good for medicating pain. So I was drinking a lot of alcohol because I was having these really bad headaches, and it was just too much. I was just drinking too much and figured out other healthier ways of dealing with the problem.
that's pretty funny. But was
That's
it
funny.
like it's hilarious? But so it was it like so bad that you actually got that you felt addicted to it, so that if you
Yes,
kept
I was
if you
drinking every day. I was drinking every
okay.
day, every night, and I was drinking a lot, like considerably. So, whiskey was my drink of choice, and I was drinking. I don't know how to. So like a third of a bottle of whiskey a night. That's a lot.
Oh,
It's a lot.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, if it's just you by yourself, not really. I mean,
That's true.
like I said, it was to medicate for pain that I was experiencing. But I was like, you know what? There's probably healthier ways of dealing with this.
There probably
And
are. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's a lot. So I decided to stop. Another thing that happened, and I'm happy to share this too, is that I was like feeling pains in my back, and I was like, okay, is my liver dying? Like, am I killing myself? What's happening? So I was like, all right, I just need to stop doing this. So that's what I did, and it's been 1,000 days. Haven't looked back.
That's very cool, man. That's actually quite cool. I mean, I myself had an addiction to smoking and later
Mm.
on to vaping because I thought, smoking is bad, but vaping, I can just replace it with vaping because vaping is not as bad. But then the thing is, I was also smoking very heavily. Like, I was going through a pack and then a half or so per day, which is not normal, and was treating myself very horribly with it. And then when I switched to vaping, I was also doing that like the entire time. Whenever you find me, I'm like vaping. And the thing is, at some point, it reached such a level where I was just like randomly during the day, I just sounded like this.
Did you hear
So,
yourself, or did someone else have to like point that out?
oh, I heard myself, and I thought, what am I doing to myself, man? So, and then the next day, I actually took my vaping device and destroyed it irreparably and put it in the trash. And then I never vaped nor smoked again. So, and
Oh,
that was quite a while ago. So,
I thought you were
yeah.
going a different direction. I thought you were going to say, and then I dug it out of the trash and like fixed it and kept going. And
That would have been funny. That would have been funny. But I haven't realized because I haven't really kept track of it. But I think it's been 6 years now. That's kind of funny, man. And I was
wow.
like, I found it so incredibly difficult not to do it before I did that one thing. But then I did that one thing, and then I never did it again. And I don't understand how that works.
So
Looking back,
1,000 days sober for me, 2,000, maybe 2,500 days sober for you. Not that, that's too many. 2,000
yeah,
plus.
yeah. Let's say that.
Yeah,
Good
that's cool.
enough.
Look at us, the sober
It's very
people.
cool. We're tough people.
We are indeed. Yeah, so today on the stream, if you guys have any questions for us, this is just going to be a very chill stream. As you can see, I've sort of dressed down what I normally do. This is actually how I used to dress on the channel all the time, just t-shirts and backward caps and stuff. And I actually want to show you guys. So we have merchandise on the store below if you guys want to go and check out what we have available. This is one of the shirts we have, and I'm going to move my mic out of the way so you guys can see it. There it is. By the way, Christianity is true.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've got this other cool merch down below. If you guys want to check out our store and purchase anything to help us out, that'd be cool. Spend a lot of time on these designs. Oh, also I should mention that Michael Jones might be joining. I initially had him in the thumbnail, but then he let me know that he may not be coming for some reasons that we can get into later. But yeah, if he joins, he'll be here for a little while. That'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, we can just hang out. What's new with you? I saw you post the other day that you're not really in the mood, if that's the right way to put it, to like produce the regular videos that you were producing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I last had a proper schedule, a proper publishing schedule of short videos. Short videos meaning not short by today's standards, but short videos as in like 10-minute videos,
Right.
regular videos, because that's what I used to do, and that's how my channel was also really growing very, very rapidly. And then I stopped doing that, and then the channel kind of started stalling a bit, and it's I hit a point at some time ago and just kind of crashed, and since then I have been trying to get back to making regular videos again. And the thing is, it's not even for a lack of topics, because I have so many topics listed. I have so many things prepared, but for some reason I just can't get around to doing it. And and people keep asking me that, like every single. So many times a week I see people saying, when are you going to make videos again? When are you going to make videos again? It's like, okay, I really would like to get back to do that. And then I realized it's been years since I stopped doing that. But I used to publish a video every Wednesday and a video every Friday. So that's how it was. And that's how it should be. But I have been working on something right now. I'm working on several projects. I'm going to go to Israel next month, where I will also record a bunch of stuff.
Funded
And
by Netanyahu.
yeah, Netanyahu said, "Hey, Apostate
texts you.
Prophet, I like what you're doing. How about I will pay you, and you can come over here, and we can have a conversation together, and you can just have a good time in Israel." I said, "Yeah, okay, fine, whatever."
It's a pretty good impression.
So yeah, I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that, and yeah, I'm trying to start over, man. I'm trying to start Apostate Prophet 2.0.
Okay.
That's
Are you going to
what's up.
start a new channel? Because God Logic has his second channel, the 2.0.
No.
Okay. Fair enough. So what topics are you interested in these days? What topics interest you? With respect to I assume it's going to be all on still Islamic apologetics.
Well, the funny thing is I'm currently going into different fields. My music career is really taking off.
Nice.
I don't know if you've realized, but I publish music now, so that's quite good. It's quite good. So I'm getting
It's taken off.
thousands of listens on Spotify and on YouTube now. So that's the
Nice.
thing, and I kind of want to develop on that and build more on that kind of stuff, because although it's kind of a joke, I've always loved music and always loved kind of creating music in my head. The thing is, when I was a child, I wasn't allowed to listen to music, and I wasn't allowed to play music or anything like that. I wanted to learn to play the guitar, for example, and my parents were like, "No, it's satanic." It's the shaitan. This, don't be like the kuffar, the disbelievers. And so I was never allowed to do that. So I kind of missed out on all that stuff. But in my mind, I've always had tunes playing since I was a little child. So I've always had this musical mind. And it's kind of messed up that I wasn't allowed to play that out. So nowadays, I spend a lot of time creating musical stuff. And but anyway, aside from that, so I'm of course very much interested in the whole Islam thing, and I want to revisit every single topic in Islam once again for newer audiences and for larger, wider audiences. But then also I have been thinking of maybe creating a second channel where I talk a little bit about Christianity, because I do want to have conversations about Christianity. I do want to explore Christianity more. I want to speak to people, have conversations, have interviews with people. And I feel like if I put those interviews and those conversations on my current channel, it might not fit very well. So I'm thinking of creating a second channel that I was actually going to ask around and get some other people's opinions on how I should approach that.
Well, you've posted some on the related topic, right? On Christianity, and they didn't seem to do too badly.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's enough interest on your channel for. I mean, you had even before you converted, you had a really big Christian audience, right?
Yeah,
it was all from David Wood. David Wood, just like, he's the reason why you have any subscribers. So.
That's a funny way to put it, but no. I recently actually went back to see when I first emailed David, and that was like I think I had almost 10,000 subscribers or something, and I emailed him, and I was like, "Hey, what's up,
David? Please
would you like
help
to have
me,
a conversation
please."
with me?" And he was like, "Whoa, your channel is growing very fast and all that." So we started talking, and then since then we never stopped. We just kept collaborating and all that. So it's kind of funny. Now he's like, he can't let go of me. It's like, leave me alone, man. But he won't let go.
Yeah, it's understandable. You're a very sought after individual.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Oh, I put this comment on the screen. Cameron is secretly a Muslim converted 1,000 days ago. That's right.
That makes sense.
Secretly Muslim. The Islamic Dilemma has convinced me that Islam has to be true.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I've been digging more into that argument. It's been a lot of fun. The thing, I think, I say fun, but I really do mean that. Like, it's been a lot of fun digging into that argument. The reason why is because the responses to it are all over the place. People give all sorts of different responses. Like, I was going back with Khalil Andani on Twitter the other day, and I was like, well, how do you respond to Surah 1094? And he was avoiding my questions. I put it to him like this. What were they? Do we know what the Christians and Jews were reading at the time of Muhammad? Do we know that question? And he refused to answer that question for a while. He eventually admitted to it, and then I said, "Well, what were they reading in Surah 1094?" And he just refused to respond. So if we knew what they were reading, which we do, we know that they were reading the same books that we have today. That's what they were reading in Muhammad's time. Then what were they reading in Surah 1094? The answers to that question are all over the place. But yeah, Khalil was not too enthused to answer that question.
It is a very, it's that whole topic. I'm so glad that David really jumped on the whole Islamic dilemma argument and started basically carrying it and arguing it and using it against Muslims, because they really have no response to most of it. Every single response that they try to give is completely nonsensical, or sounds incredibly bad. Like yesterday, he had a conversation, he had a debate with this one guy, John Fountain, and okay, that was on purpose.
That shouldn't have been as funny to me as it was, because I've thought that exact same thing when I first saw his name. I was like, Fountain? No, Fontaine.
Yeah. So, so he had a conversation with John Fontaine, and the thing is, you texted me, right? That was you, yeah. You said,
I
"Are
was
you
the one
watching?"
who told you about it.
You said, "Are you
You didn't
watching?"
even
I'm like,
know that
"What?"
he was debating him.
I saw that he has a debate. He even told me the day before, but I completely forgot about it. So then I didn't check it out. So you texted me, "Are you watching?" And I'm like, "Watching what?"
Yeah.
The debate. Oh, so so I quickly tuned in to see what they're talking about, and then I was in the cross-examination section, and there the guy couldn't explain what the New Testament or what the Gospels actually were, what the
Uh huh.
Injil actually is, and eventually David is asking questions and saying, "Okay, so you claim that there was a different gospel back then, which they were reading. Can you show us or do you have a manuscript of that?" And John Fountain says, "Yes." And David says, "Okay, so what is it?" He's like, uh, "The Hadith."
The
What?
Hadith.
It's just so bad, they have to start making up things, and the things that they make up are just so bad. And this shows how there is a intellectual poverty when it comes to Islam, especially in comparison to Christianity, in comparison to the Bible. And these arguments, the Islamic dilemma, or the whole, focusing on the whole Injil part in general, really expose Islam's most ignorant aspect, and that's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. You know, I watched that debate too. I actually looked it up afterwards because he mentioned in the debate, and I got to look at the timestamp to see exactly when he said this. But he did mention Surah 1094. Maybe I should put that on the screen for everyone. Let me do that. Surah 1094. It's a fun verse in the Quran. A lot of things are fun tonight.
A lot of fun.
All right, here we go. Let me
Right.
pull it up. All right, there it is. Okay, so if you are in doubt, O Muhammad, about that which we have revealed to you, then ask those who have been reading the scripture before you. I actually did a word study on what the scripture refers to. It's a word kitab, and kitab
Which is
is
literally book.
yeah. Well, it's also when I looked it up, this one source, it was an Islamic source, was saying that it's divinely revealed scriptures is what it refers to in the Quran, because the Quran is identified as kitab.
Mm-hmm.
Kitab. There's a verse. I forget. I think it's in chapter 3 where it says. I cannot think of the phrasing in my mind, but it identifies the Quran, the wisdom, the Psalms, and the Torah, and the Injil as kitab. Anyway, it's interesting. It's interesting. So they were reading the scriptures before you. Who were those people? What were they reading? That's the question. And in the debate, John Fountain was arguing that it was a group of Jews. I think he also said Christians, which is weird because there wasn't a whole lot of, from my understanding, there wasn't a whole lot of Christians in Medina. There was a lot of Jews, but there weren't a lot of Christians. But nevertheless, the Torah and the Injil were this. It was a set of scriptures that went away and then just sort of appeared in Medina at the time. But when you look into this surah, chapter 10 of the Quran, this was actually written in the Meccan period. I think is that how you say that? It was pre-Medina.
Yeah, Meccan.
Yeah, it was the Meccan. So it was pre-Medina. So this verse couldn't have been referring to in context, in the historical, setting it in the historical context, actually wouldn't have been referring to the Medina Jews and Christians. I don't know.
The thing is, kitab, which is used for scripture, so it literally means something written or a book. It's funny because so Arabic as a Semitic language works with having root words, and those root words then developing into different words. So here the root word is KTB, which almost always refers to something to do with writing. In fact, in the Bible, is divided. The Old Testament in the Bible is divided into three different parts. In Judaism specifically, it is the Old Testament. The Hebrew Bible is called the Tanakh, which is short for the three sections of the Old Testament: the Torah, the prophets, and the other writings. The Torah is Torah, then Nevi'im is the prophets, and the writings is called the Ketuvim, which is the same thing, the same root word, the same word. It's about,
Mm,
so those are writings, something
yeah.
written, something
But it
scriptural.
refers to divinely revealed writings, right?
In
Not
that,
just like,
in the context of the
not,
Quran, yeah. In the context, but it could also refer to any kind of writing. But in the
right.
context of the Quran, it does, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what that's how it uses the term in the Quran.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Which is interesting because there were people that were reading the Kitab before Muhammad. Who were they? What were they reading?
What was the
Yeah.
reading?
What was they reading? I made another video recently on the same verse with the debate between God Logic and Daniel Hakika. Did you watch that one?
No, I was
No.
traveling, couldn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one was interesting because again, the Muslims are all over the place. They have different answers. So for John Fountain, it was the Kitab was limited to a group of people in Medina, but for Daniel, it's actually referring to the books of the prophets in the Old Testament, the prophetic stories of the prophets. So I made a video responding to that and showing how, well, actually, even if we limit it to that in the Old Testament, there's still all sorts of contradictions that you can find in the stories of the prophets in the Quran. So
Wait a minute, I just I just searched for the debate between between God Logic and Daniel Kikachu, and I see that Daniel Kikachu posted it on his own channel too. But
uh-huh.
did you see the thumbnail?
No.
So on God Logic's channel, it's just God
Let me see.
Logic
Let me
and
pull it
Daniel
up.
Kikachu, and it says Islamic Dilemma. On Daniel Kikachu's channel, it's Daniel Kikachu and God Logic, but it says Autistic Dilemma.
Oh
What's
yes, yes, yeah. You didn't see that? Yes.
what's
There it is. You can see it right here.
what's wrong with this guy, man?
Yeah, no, people were pointing out in the live chat and stuff that that's actually really
It's really
insensitive,
messed up.
and
Yeah,
it's really insensitive because and also it's like it doesn't really do what he's trying to make it do, because autism doesn't mean dumb, right?
yeah,
Autism
it
doesn't
doesn't.
mean stupid. There are autistic people who are much smarter than the average person. So
Yeah,
what's going on?
especially when it comes to analyzing certain things.
Yeah, dude.
Autism
No,
can be a
like a
very
lot of philosophers are actually on the spectrum.
yeah, yeah. It can be a very helpful tool, actually.
Yeah,
It can.
yeah.
Let's not say it necessarily is, but it can be a
Right,
very, very effective and helpful tool. You know.
right, right. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Oh, one question I did want to ask you is, in your opinion, what is the
Yes,
strongest argument against Islam?
the Islamic dilemma.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in the past,
When did you first encounter it?
I encountered it first several years ago, but I didn't pay that much attention to it. I thought, I get the point. It's a good argument. It's solid, but I was kind of making the same argument in different ways, and pointing out how there are inconsistencies when the Quran makes claims about the old scriptures and all that. So I didn't at that time in the past pay enough attention to the entirety of the Islamic dilemma as one argument on its own. But it was more recently, I think, I would say even within the last year or so, that especially when David started focusing on it more, that I started thinking it through deeply and analyzing it and trying to find responses to it genuinely. And then,
Because before it wasn't genuine.
Yeah. Before that, it wasn't genuine. And then I realized that the responses to it are just really, really bad, and there is no way out. And I try to give my own best explanations, and they do not help. And I see Muslims give their own best explanations and their best responses. It doesn't. They don't help. It's just a completely brutal, airtight argument, which is why I told David as well. Please go ahead and write a book. Write a book. Call it the Islamic Dilemma. How how one argument destroys Islam or something like that, you know. So I hope he's working on it now.
I
But I,
don't think
I
so.
really think it is the best argument against Islam. Like I personally, for example, have said that certain historical facts being false in the Quran, such as one of my favorite arguments is that the Quran claims in chapter 9, verse 30, that the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah. And it further goes on, and in the hadith then says that on the day of judgment, Allah will call upon the Jews as a community and will ask them what did you used to believe, and they will say, we used to believe in Ezra, the son of Allah. And Allah will say, liars, Allah does not have a son, go to hell, all of you. So something happened in the 7th century in Arabia, and Muhammad was under the weird impression that the Jews actually worship Ezra as the son of Allah, and nobody can make any sense of it. But it is just a very big blunder in the Quran. And I would say that this false claim in the Quran demonstrates irrefutably that Islam is false, because the Quran makes a completely false claim, which can be easily demonstrated. And the Quran is not supposed to make false claims because it is the divine word of Allah unchanged. So if it does make false claims, it is then not the word of Allah. It is therefore false. So that is, in my opinion, the strongest argument in general. But the Islamic dilemma is even better.
Well, John Fountain would respond to that by pointing out that the original Torah had that in there, but then it was lost. It was substituted with the Jewish and Christian version of the Torah, and then it showed up somewhat magically in Medina.
And do you have
So
manuscripts?
how do you
Do you have a manuscript of that original Torah?
The original Torah? No, we don't have any manuscripts of that.
You're supposed to say yes, and then I ask you what it is.
Well, no, I think the original Torah he said we didn't have that. We had, or wait, no, did he say that we had manuscripts of the Torah?
No.
Or manuscripts of the Injil.
I just wanted to change it just for this argument, you know.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No.
Yeah,
worries.
so let me just remind the audience, we do have a potential third guest joining us, Michael Jones, Inspiring Philosophy. He might be joining us. He recently had LASIK on his eyeballs, and he is dealing with some effects from that. So he may or may not join, depending on what's going on. So he may join us, he may not. No worries. If not, totally understand. Let's get through some super chats. From Maverick Christian, he says, I'd like to think of myself as a reasonably intelligent person on the spectrum. One of my papers got published in Oxford University Press. Yeah, no, Maverick Christian, I've met him, and intelligent person on the spectrum. So he's saying that he is on the spectrum, but he is indeed one of the smartest Christians that I have met. So, yes.
The autism spectrum. Yeah. But according to Daniel Kikuchi, it just means stupid, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Way to go, Daniel. Way to go. MT says, congrats, Cameron. Separately, can you guys please start announcing these crossovers in community posts? Yes, that is not a bad idea. And actually, Michael Jones is joining right now, so we're going to let him in 1 second.
Who?
Michael Jones is here.
Who?
Inspiring Philosophy, joining us in 3, 2, 1. There he is. What's up, dude?
I'm gonna turn that light out. It's really bright.
Okay. I let people know that you just recently had LASIK, so
sure did. It's like everything on this side is fine, and this side is blurry and bright, and so then it's combining, and it's creating a horrible headache.
Very, very nice. So explain to
No,
us what
it's not
happened.
very nice.
What did they do to your eyes? Why did they do that?
They shot lasers into them
Why?
so that I can see better, apparently.
Do you see better?
Well, yeah, if I do this.
Huh.
Now I can see great.
Nice.
This is everyone's got different reactions. So they said like give it a week or so and I should be able to I should be back to normal. But yeah, now I can see further than like 6 feet, which I couldn't see like a couple days ago.
Ah, now everything makes sense. Now it all makes
What are
sense.
you guys talking about?
We were talking about we were talking about talking trash about you. We were talking about the autistic dilemma, as Daniel calls it.
Can they get any dumber? Let's just insult all autistic people. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then John Fontaine the other day is debating David Wood, and he's like, yes, there's a Torah that no one ever heard of that Jesus knew about, that no church fathers talked about. It's not mentioned in the New Testament, but was somehow in Medina. And then after, no Muslim wanted to preserve a Torah that predicted Muhammad because reasons.
So hang on. There was a Torah in the time of Jesus that Jesus himself read, but it does not exist. However, we have manuscripts, including ones that that precede Jesus, and manuscripts from around his time of the Torah, which are totally very much in alignment with today's Torah. But those were also apparently just like how does he explain that? Did that even come up?
It's so it's insane. This is kind of the same thing Sajid Lippim was arguing a couple months ago, as well as Rumzi Abdallah over Dunya. Same nonsense. I mean, basically, we have to posit is Moses was given a Torah. Then the Jews were like, no, that's dumb. Let's make our own Torah. And they did. So they substituted the actual Torah, and it was lost according to John Fontaine. But then God retaught it to Jesus during his time, and he used that Torah to refute the Jews. But then, like, no early Christian cared about the Torah Jesus had or the Injil that Jesus was taught. Like, okay, and
was there any did he posit any continuity between Jesus' time and Muhammad's time? Like, was there a Christian group that still had access to those scriptures, or was it re-revealed to Christians in Medina?
No, I think he suggested that like maybe some minority, like a minority group of Christians. Okay, but it gets so complicated. Like some minority groups of Christians and Jews went to Medina with this other Torah and Injil, and apparently the Christians kept the Torah and the Injil, but only like some Jews, who rejected Jesus were like, oh no, but we're going to use this Torah that Jesus had and not the other Torah that we all know exists. And then they're in Medina debating with Muhammad, and some of them are like, yeah, we use the Torah that predicted Muhammad, but we don't like you, Muhammad. And the Christians are like, yeah, we also use that Torah, a different Torah that predicted Muhammad, and the Injil that Jesus had, but we don't like you, Muhammad. And then Islam took over, and the Muslims were like, yeah, there's Torah and this Injil that predict our prophet and prove we're right. Yeah, we're just gonna let these fade to history, and no one's ever gonna know about them. But in 100, 200 years, the Hadith will apparently refer to them and some of the stuff that's in them, but we're gonna just let them get lost to history because reasons.
Those are the manuscripts.
Totally plausible, guys. Totally plausible.
So hang on. The followers of Jesus. So Jesus talked to his followers and basically taught them about a new or the original Torah. He taught it to the people.
Yes.
And then his followers, immediate followers, they really loved Jesus. They deified him. They literally worshipped him. Mm-hmm. But then I guess it was like, so what are we going to do about the original Torah that he just taught us? And then they were like, yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, forget about that. Some apparently of the good Christians went to Medina because they were waiting for a prophet to show up. And then when he got there, the Quran complains that none of them are accepting him as a prophet. So it's like, what even is this religion? Like, it's so wild.
You know what's so funny about all of this to me is that almost with every single argument that they make here, with every single claim that they make about Jesus and what he taught, and the early Christians and the following Christians and all that, with all of those arguments, what they are basically implying is that the very people that Jesus himself chose as his disciples, with whom he entrusted his message, were incompetent or liars or lazy or whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
Muslims directly disrespect the disciples, the apostles, and then they actually claim to respect Jesus when they disrespect the very people that Jesus himself appointed and chose.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is that whole issue like creates the second Islamic dilemma that they hate. Because if you go to like Surah 61:6, it says, "Remember when Jesus, son of Mary, children." Oh no, 60. Sorry, it's 61:14. Short little surah, but it's, "O believers, stand up for Allah," as Jesus, son of Mary, asked the disciples, "Who will stand up with me for Allah?" The disciples replied, "We will stand up for Allah." Then a group from the children of Israel believed, while another disbelieved. We then supported the believers against their enemies, so they prevailed. Wait, what? So starting with the disciples, Allah supported them to make them prevail. Well, which group prevailed? Of the earliest sects, most of them date to the 2nd century, except Orthodoxy, but that's neither here nor there. Which of the earliest groups prevailed and became the dominant group? Well, it was Orthodox Trinitarian Christians. It wasn't
Oh,
the Ebionites, which are end of the 1st century. It wasn't Gnostic groups, which come up 2nd century. It wasn't the Marcionites. It was the Orthodox Trinitarian Christians. So why is Allah supporting heretics who claim things that are great sins, and he's supporting them? So, I mean, this creates a dilemma. Like, if Trinitarian Christians are the real followers of Jesus, then Islam is false. And if we're not, then Islam is false, because Allah is supporting Trinitarian Christians according to the Quran and making them uppermost, which doesn't make sense. But he's but if so I mean but it creates a whole new dilemma for them. If you get what I mean, it's insane.
it's because Allah made a mistake. I mean, he makes mistakes,
See?
so that's why. By the way, can you briefly summarize or recite or read those verses again that you just read from the Quran?
Yeah, Surah 61:14.
Yeah.
Oh, stand up for Allah, as Jesus, son of Mary, asked the disciples, "Who will stand up with me for Allah?" The disciples replied, "We will stand up for Allah." Then a group from the children of Israel believed, while another disbelieved. We then supported the believers against their enemies, so they prevailed. So again, if who according to basic history, who prevailed? It was Trinitarian Christians. So if Allah is supporting Trinitarian Christians, Islam is false. But if we are not the followers of Jesus, then Islam is false, because it assumes that we are.
So I just want to point out one thing. Aside from the fact that this clearly shows that Islam is false, because the original Christians who believed in the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit were actually the righteous or the good ones, I also want everyone to appreciate one thing here. Isn't it funny that when the Quran tells the story of what Jesus and his followers allegedly said, it just sounds significantly dumber than the texts that we actually have from that time? I mean, read the New Testament, read the New Testament, or even the Old Testament, and it doesn't sound as dumb as this. I mean, they are actually elaborate texts with elaborate quotes, not like this. And Jesus said, "Who will stand up with me?" And they said, "We will stand up with you." What is this? Everybody sounds dumb like Allah.
Well, it's like the Jews were really worried about people standing up for God in the 1st century. That's why they had to kill Jesus. How dare you stand up for the one God?
Yes. Anyway, the Islamophobia police is here. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Heard you guys over here talking trash about Islam or something.
Very
we were. I'm sorry. It was me.
Yeah, we were talking about the Islamic dilemma in the debate.
What? So, like, David, what even was that debate? Like, he just comes in and goes, he thinks he can solve an internal critique by inventing things that don't exist, which is not how that works. You can't.
It's how things work in Islam.
If it's an internal critique, you have to work with the actual available texts you have. You just can't invent new texts to solve the problem. That's called being ad hoc. That's not how this works.
Not the boss of Muslims. If they want to be ad hoc as possible, look at their prophet, man. Look at their prophet.
Hey, Cameron, you didn't tell us that you invited Mike Winger on the show.
Oh, look.
Ha ha ha! A Mike Winger joke. How novel.
Interesting.
So, David, I did want to run this by you and see what you think about 1094, because one of the questions that John Fountain asked you was, name one Islamic source that
Dude, why do you call him John Fountain, man? Have some respect for the guy's name.
Yeah, sorry, John Fontaine. Why? Give me one Islamic source that identifies the scriptures as the Torah and the gospel that the Christians had. Right. That was one of the questions that he asked. Why can't you just point to Surah 1094 and be like, well, we know what Christians and Jews had in their possession, and 1094 says that they had scripture in their possession. So how is that not a direct link?
No, he agrees. He just thinks it's a Torah and a gospel that were revealed by Moses and Jesus and have no connection to the Torah that Jews believe in now and the Injil that Christians believe in now. They disappeared, but they amazingly, for some reason, both existed in 7th century Medina and nowhere else on the planet. And that's what they were appealing to. And so this only applies for Muhammad's time, because immediately after Muhammad's time, they ceased to exist. There's no reference to them anywhere outside the Muslim sources. And it's sad because this affects the argument from Muhammad in the Bible, because according to John Fontaine, it would not be talking about the Torah and the gospel that we have. And so we can, right. He just threw almost all Muslim apologists under the bus.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all under the bus. And every time from now on, hey, what about Muhammad in this? What are you talking about, man? According to John Fontaine, it's not even the book you're supposed to be going to. But anyway, so apparently the only books that contained these prophecies about Muhammad were in Medina in the 7th century and existed nowhere else. And then they stopped existing. And so there went their proof. And so the Quran's main argument for why Jews and Christians should believe in Muhammad, there are two. One is that the Quran is affirming our scriptures, and therefore we should, tit for tat, we should confirm the Quran to be nice in return. That goes away because he's not affirming our scriptures. He's affirming books that we have no access to, so we can't even check them. And the other main argument is we find Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures, but he's saying it's not talking about our scriptures, it's talking about scriptures that don't exist anymore. And therefore we have no way of checking any of the arguments that are actually offered towards Jews and Christians. And so it's just tragic. They did not preserve the only things in the universe that could actually confirm Muhammad to us. And now we have nothing that shows Muhammad.
I have nothing.
Well, I mean, like, the Islamic Dilemma could still run with his whole position, because there's several verses which say, confirming what is with you, confirming what is with you, confirming what is with you.
With them, that's not to you. That's not to you.
But I mean,
with them.
It doesn't say
Medinans.
the Christians of Medina. It just says the
I
Christians.
know it doesn't, but you can make that up. You're dealing with people who will make up literally anything to avoid an argument, and they don't care if they have to make up 5,000 things.
Yeah,
and they do not care even slightly about Occam's razor or anything else. If they have to posit 50 million non-existent books to escape from something. By the way, I mean, just think about this, right? So according to Islam, depending on who you go to, it's either 124,000 or 144,000 prophets that have been sent out into the world preaching Islam. Where are all these guys? And it's been to every country and every language. Where are all these guys? No record of them. Okay, so never, we have no evidence that any of this actually happened. And then you get to the ones they're actually affirming, but now we find out they're not actually affirming anything we actually have. It's only affirming some made up document given to Jesus that we have no record of, and some made up document given to Moses that we have no record of. And it's like, guys, does there ever get to a point where you're talking about over 100,000 revelations that you have no evidence for, and then even the ones that you say you still have, now you're saying you don't have them, and it's kind of looking pretty rough for Islam, man.
So David, my question, let me jump in real quick. So the question, I know John's view, right, is that the Jews and the Christians in Medina had access to some Torah and Injil that we just don't have anymore. I know that's John's view, but what he was asking you was, is there ever a time that an Islamic source identifies the Torah and the Injil as the scriptures that the Christians and the Jews actually have, right? The Bible.
Yeah,
and I was saying, couldn't you just...
The Quran says over and over again, it's talking about the Torah and the Injil.
Right. But the Bible that we have in our possession, that was his question.
The one that we have in our possession, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
not the made up Medinan one.
Yeah. And so, the issue is, if Allah is talking about the Torah, I mean, do Jews know what you're talking about if you say the Torah? Yeah. Do Christians know what you're talking about if you say the gospel? Yeah. Could you hypothetically be talking about something else? Yeah, but if you're talking to Christians and saying judge by the gospel, if you mean something other than what every Christian is going to think you're talking about, then you need to clarify, I don't mean anything remotely resembling the gospel that you're familiar with. I mean this other thing. And so here's the issue. You've had Muslims who, but there were other gospel. Pick one. So if you're just talking in general to Christians and you say the gospel, Christians would take that to mean either the collection of the four gospels treated as a unit, the fourfold gospel, or the entire New Testament. If you mean something else, you would need to clarify. But even for a Muslim would want to say, but there were other 2nd, 3rd, 4th century gospels and so on. Fine. Pick one. Pick anything you think the Quran is talking about. And it doesn't agree with Islam. There's nothing out there that agrees with Islam. And so the end result of this, trying to avoid the issue, is you eventually just have to say it's affirming stuff and you don't even have it. And therefore there's nothing you can go and investigate. Ha 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 ha. Allah's awesome magic trick. And so that's where they're at. That's where they're at right now. And so
this just shows Surah 2, 185 is wrong. The Quran is not clear guidance for humanity. If it was only for people, if some of its commands are only for people in Medina, so is Surah 3 to 4. That's also wrong. The Torah and the Gospel were not guidance for mankind.
Well, yeah, they were, but Allah just couldn't protect them. He tried. Oh, but that's why I started off with a bunch of verses from the Quran saying that the Quran is clear, because if any of these guys are right, the Quran is not clear at all. If you read the Quran, I affirm the Torah, I affirm the gospel. Yeah, judge by these books and so on. He's not talking to you, and he's not talking about the books you think of, and he's hopelessly confusing, and you can kind of make up anything you want. Okay, least clear book ever. He's the last person ever who should be bragging about being clear.
Yeah, just
David,
so you know,
my question is just.
Just so you guys know, Avery has sent messages to John Fontaine because he showed up in Avery's live stream, challenged myself, David Wood, and Chris to debates. Avery has now messaged him saying, myself, I'm ready to debate John Fontaine on this issue. We haven't heard back from him yet. So as soon as we get a date from him, I'll debate him.
I do like the idea of just continuing to debate this, because this is awesome.
Yeah. Come on, John.
Could he partner with someone else and do a 2v2?
Sure.
It might be fun.
It'd have to be
that was my question, David. You debated John Fountain, but who came up with the idea of debating John Fountain? Was it did he just offer that? Did he make that challenge?
He challenged me. He challenged me, and he challenged IP. Who else did he challenge? Avery?
Chris.
Who did he challenge?
He challenged Chris of Speaker's Corner.
Okay. So he challenged me, IP, and Chris, and we all accept. But AP, you're bringing up a relevant point, that he challenged me to a debate, and I agreed, and I debated him. So therefore, to be fair, I should be allowed to challenge him back, because he was even tossing out more. He's turning into Nadir Ahmed and just adding more challenges on. But to be fair, now, since I accepted his challenge and debated the topic he challenged me on, I would have to challenge him to debate whether Muhammad's a true prophet.
Well, my question was because so I tuned into the debate. I still have to watch the whole thing. I'm still yet to watch the thing. I kind of don't really want to do it because it was horrible from what I have heard. Um,
It
but
is hilarious.
the part that I heard was absolutely incredibly bad, and it was full of horrible arguments. So it's just funny to me that he is the one who actually challenges you to the argument, implying that he thinks that he can destroy the Islamic dilemma and prove Islam true or disprove the attack against Islam. And then it turns out to be a completely ridiculous argument from his side.
Well, yeah, to everyone else, but if you're willing to say, "Hey, I can make up imaginary documents that I have no evidence for," and just say, "Yep, this was revealed to Moses, then it disappeared. This was revealed to Jesus, then it disappeared. They both miraculously appeared in a 7th century tiny little place called Medina, and they appeared there. Muhammad affirmed them. They contained all the evidence that Muhammad is a prophet, but no one preserved them, so they're gone." Guess what? If you're willing to do that to avoid the Islamic dilemma, more power to you. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
I don't think it even avoids it. I don't think it does. I think because because the Quran says over and over again, confirming what is with you. Okay, let's just say Christians did have those made up nonsensical texts as well. They still also had the New Testament texts. So why is Allah just generally confirming what is with the Christians, which would have been multiple texts, like the letters of Paul, like the 4 Gospels, and this mysterious Injil, and this mysterious other Torah? And we know that our texts predate Muhammad. We have Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Vaticanus. So these were with the Christians. If Allah is
Sinai Bible?
The Sinai Bible, yes. Thank you for reminding me of the scholar Billy Carson bringing that up.
Yeah. All you're doing, IP, all you're doing right now is saying that the Quran is hopelessly, if that's what Allah meant, then the Quran is hopelessly unclear. Apparently, they're willing to grant that, even though Allah brags throughout the Quran, "I'm so clear, it's so clear, this is clear, I'm clarifying everything with this super clear clarity." And then, Allah just doesn't mean anything he sounds like he's saying. He means completely different things. Too bad.
Yep. I'll be
You could put this, you could make this, and you might want to do this at some point. You can make a different Islamic dilemma. Is Allah clear, or is he hopelessly unclear? If he's clear, then you get the Islamic dilemma because he's affirming these scriptures, and that's all clear. If he's unclear, then his book is a lie because he brags about being clear. Yeah. Either way, Islam is false.
Another Islamic dilemma. They just pop up all over the place. Yes.
So Dr. Bales says autism debates, you see, referring to the Daniel Hakikachu title.
Yeah, anyone understand what that is? Why he starts calling it autism?
We talked about that. We talked about that before you came in, David. It's really strange. Really strange decision on his part to do that.
Yeah,
because
I have no
there's
idea
so
why.
many philosophers. There's so many philosophers that are on the spectrum, and they're so much more intelligent than we are.
Mm-hmm. He
Has
just
no-
kind of
yeah,
called
look
it
at
like
autism,
super smart.
Look at young Bob. Young Bob's autistic, and he's extremely intelligent. That's why I don't understand what the point of, like, autistic can mean you have, like, I mean, some of them have like savant abilities where
Exactly.
Yeah. So what you're saying that what kind of autistic?
It's
Daniel? You mean
insensitive
like
and
autistic
very dumb.
savant? Like this is what someone with super brain powers would come up with? You don't even need super brain powers because you can just read the text and it says it.
I can explain. It's actually very simple. Daniel Kikichu is somebody who, evidently, as many people have proven before, is somebody who just likes to go with memes. He's basically like an edgy teenager who just picks up on the latest memes and repeats them online, which is why he actually unironically goes into a debate and tells you, do you remember, David? He was telling you, come on, say it, be a Chad, David, be a Chad. That's what he was saying to you.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's the
Oh,
guy who actually
he's interested in kids, so that's why he picks up on all the lingo that kids are using. I get it.
Exactly. So he likes to just repeat these memes that the kids are talking right now, and he uses them completely unironically in a very natural way. You know, he's just like them. He tries to be like them, probably because of his interest in little children. So this is why. And autistic is an insult that some of these memers have picked up, which they use against people to imply that they are dumb, which is why Daniel Kikichu comes and uses it as an insult. That's it.
Wow.
You figured it out.
I bet the next step for Daniel Kikuchi is going to start like a toy review channel or something like this. And hey guys, I got the new, I don't know what toys are nowadays. Pokemon, the new Nerf gun. Here's my review. Want to come over and play?
God, you're old.
So
Daniel's house.
so bad.
He actually
Aaron
has
Harlow.
His toy review channel could be called Daniel's Basement.
He actually has a meme section on his website. You know, on his website, Muslim Skeptic, there's actually a meme section where these little kids post memes every day, like really dumb stuff. So that's Daniel Kikuchi.
All right, let me get another super chat in from Aaron Harlow. When you point out Allah was the great deceiver for making it appear Jesus was crucified, and the Muslim references Ezekiel 14:9, how do you respond?
You get the reference up. If it's what I think it is, this is not that hard.
No, it's not.
If a prophet is deceived and speaks the word, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet and will stretch out my hand against him and will destroy him from the midst of my people. Yeah, so there's two solutions to this quite easily. For one, you're as always, they're assuming Islamic principles when you read the Bible, and I pointed this out in my debate with Captain Dezariak, is that in the Old Testament, God is often given active credit for things he just allowed. So if you read 1 Chronicles 10, we see that Saul commits suicide, but then the end of the chapter says that God brought judgment upon him. Like God put him to death. Well, no, God just allowed him to commit suicide. Exodus 5 is another passage where Pharaoh inflicts heavy workloads on the Israelites, and Moses blames God. Says, why did you do this? Well, no, Pharaoh did it. God just allowed it. So or you have the second solution, which is what Paul talks about, which is that God sends people powerful delusions when they rebel and they reject him. So he gives them what they've already asked for and already wanted. This is the two solutions that I've used for this in the past, and either works because they're both appealing to the rest of the latter is appealing to what Scripture says about this, and the prior is also appealing to what Scripture says and cultural context.
And you have repeatedly said the S word, and now this live stream has to be demonetized. Thank you, IP.
What did I say?
The S word.
What's the S word?
I'm not going to say it, man.
Can't say it again.
All right. Well, no idea what I said. But yeah,
I don't follow the joke either. But
I mean, but in Islam, I mean, Allah is an active deceiver. Like, and there's no the Quran is very clear that He is an active deceiver. You can't appeal to like cultural context or context in the Quran where Allah is just taking credit for things He just passively allows. He is like the active creator of deception multiple times. So with the Bible, when we come to verses like this, we just go to the other places where he's giving people what they want, like the powerful delusion, or he's just allowing something passively to happen. But the authors are writing about him in the active form.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, let's get to another super chat. Christian Beltran, IP, you should make the next video game you play the Free Palestine game AP played live last year.
There's a video game, Free Palestine.
That was some stupid, messed up game that I played when David was like.
He beat it like the first time he played it, and it was all. That was was that the one where you were just massacring all the Jews up on the Temple Mount?
Yeah.
That was that one. Okay. Yeah, he's up on the Temple Mount defending the Dome of the Rock, and all these Jews are coming to attack him, and he's slaughtering all the Jews.
That's a real game.
Yes, it was. Yeah, he played it. He played it and defeated it. He defeated all the Jews and saved the Dome of the Rock.
Saved
a turd.
Palestine.
AP. Such a turd.
Some pro-Palestine dummy actually made such a game. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty racist. Pretty bad.
All right, Simeon Roban says, can a book interpret itself? What are your opinions?
Well, technically, no. But I mean, I get what people say when they mean that. It made it more metaphorical. Like you look for other places in Scripture to help better understand a passage. But books don't interpret themselves. We interpret them.
Yeah. So I asked AP this question. I'm gonna ask David and Michael and IP the same question.
Winger.
Yeah, Mike Winger. What is y'all's favorite argument against Islam? Is it the Islamic Dilemma? That was AP's answer.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, it's the reason why is because, and David can say what he wants after this, but like it's just everywhere. It's in Surah 2, it's in Surah 3, it's in Surah 4, it's in Surah 5, it's in Surah 6, it's in Surah 7. I mean, it's just everywhere. You can find a verse where Allah is, I'm confirming your scriptures. I'm confirming what is with you. Judge by the gospel. Stand on your scriptures. He even says in Surah 29:46, Muslims, I command you to say to the people of the book, believe in their scriptures. Like Muslims are commanded to believe in our scriptures. So you can go everywhere for the Islamic dilemma. And so like there's so much firepower there.
What do you think is like the rational? Well, David, give your response and then I'll. Yeah, give your response and then I'll.
Yeah, so I mean, you can have different favorite arguments for different purposes. Like the poll by Muhammad Hijab a few years ago, not a poll in the Zoot sense, but the poll that Muhammad Hijab put out years ago where he asked Muslims what causes them to doubt Islam. And it was, for you Muslims who occasionally doubt Islam, what is it that causes your doubts? It was like the biggest answer was problems with Muhammad's character, moral problems. So if you're trying to shake a Muslim's confidence in Muhammad, which is a huge step for them, blasting away at Muhammad, not in the Zoot sense, but blasting away at Muhammad that could be the best route to go. It might be more effective than the Islamic dilemma. But if I had to pick one argument that's just all around awesome, Islamic dilemma, because it's something like not all Christians are comfortable bringing up Muhammad having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl, right? They don't want to bring it up. They don't want to be just attacking and insulting and things like that. But in any conversation with a Muslim, if you're just doing evangelism and you get into a discussion with a Muslim and you're just preaching the gospel, it's inevitably going to come up that, hey, your book's been corrupted. That's why your book disagrees with mine. And then it's just, oh, really? My book's been corrupted. Well, why does Allah say right here? And so it's something that any Christian can be comfortable with. It's something that's always going to come up in a discussion. So as long as you're ready for it, and it's something where then you can use that to defend anything, right? If you say, hey, look, Jesus died on the cross for sins. You say, what? Well, no, he didn't. The Quran says your book's been corrupted. Oh, and then you can run the Islamic dilemma. And it's simultaneously offensive that you're exposing a problem in Islam. So for putting it all together, and along with what IP said, that it's just all over the Quran, and so it's all over the Quran, and Muslims don't know about it because they don't pay attention to these verses, and they don't read their own book, and so on. So they don't know this about their own book. And then sort of cherry on top of everything is that when you go through all these verses and show your Muslim friend all these verses that he's never heard from his sheikh or imam, that can be a kind of light switch moment. Like, why am I hearing this from Christians? And why has this been covered up my entire life? Why has no one ever brought this stuff up to me? Why am I hearing this from Christians? Maybe I need to start investigating this for myself, because it doesn't seem like I'm getting all the information from my leaders and so on. So anyway, put it all together, I think it's the best all around argument.
So what is the rational explanation, just from like it doesn't have to be a Christian perspective, an atheist could have this perspective about the Quran as well, but like, or about Muhammad, what was going on in like Muhammad's mind when he decided to throw these verses in the Quran? Like, was he literally just bluffing and saying like, go check, you guys will find me in there? Because he didn't know, right? He didn't know what was in.
Delusional.
If he actually believed he's a prophet, which I think I incline towards that view. I incline towards he actually believed that he was a prophet. If he actually believed that he's a prophet and that he was receiving revelations and that he's in the same line as the Jews and Christians and their prophets and so on, then seems like he just assumed I'm in those books. and they know it
Yeah.
because I'm in those books. I have to be, because I'm a prophet. I'm obviously a prophet. And so when I eventually run into these guys, they're going to say that they're going to recognize that I'm a prophet, and they're going to affirm me. And they didn't. And when they didn't,
So
then
it was
it's aha.
so it wasn't a
they're evil.
bluff. It wasn't a bluff.
No, I
He
think
like
it was crazy.
just genuinely thought that it was there. Yeah.
I think he was delusional.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think something happened to him in the cave. I don't know if he had like a health issue.
Something happened to him in the desert too. So there's that.
Something happened. A lot of things happened to Muhammad that really probably messed him up. And so something happened to him in that cave.
Oh yes.
And
yes.
he was convinced by other people that he was a prophet. So I think he just had these ideas of grandeur about himself. He didn't need to go check those scriptures. Obviously, they're going to be in line with whatever he preaches. And so he just said, yeah, it's all the same stuff. I'm one of these prophets that preaching the same thing that David did and Moses and Jesus. We're all in the same line. And of course, the Quran calls him the ear in Surah 9. So he was told all these stories from random Jews and Christians, and he just assumed it was all scripture. So we know he's like quoting from the Infancy Gospel of Thomas, the Second Targum of Esther, these kinds of things. And he just, that must be scripture. I mean, I'm just reading Nikolai Sinai today, and some parts he's quoting from like the Mishnah, for example, assuming that's like part of the Torah. So yeah, there's he's just hearing all this stuff. He's assuming he's getting reliable information, and he's like, yeah, it's just obviously going to be preaching the same stuff. And when he heard something that contradicted his own revelations, that's where he said, oh, you Jews and Christians, you're distorting the scriptures to say that kind of stuff. Like in Surah 5, for example. Oh, you've distorted it, and that's how horrible you guys are, because clearly it can't contradict what I'm saying, me and my ideas of grandeur of myself. So that's why we have random places where Muhammad is saying, yeah, they have reliable scriptures, but they're distorting the meaning of it because they're not agreeing with me or accepting I'm a prophet. It was all this narcissistic self-delusions he had.
You both actually made a very interesting point, which is you inadvertently made that point, but you said that something happened to him in the desert, while you said something happened to him in the cave. Now, combine these thoughts, considering that something happened to him in the desert by the Al-Zud. I wonder what happened to him in the cave and what we are actually not being told, which also might explain how his revelations got really messed up and how they are not in line with Christianity and with Judaism or with biblical teachings as they were supposed to be. What really happened in the cave?
He found the Torah and the Injil there.
And he couldn't read it. And so he's like, well, they must. And he just made it up because he couldn't read it. He's like, I know what they say.
Something worse happened.
I think AP thinks that Muhammad got molested.
Yes.
I mean, he did not have a good childhood.
Muslims, show us on the doll what they did to Muhammad.
I think it is plausible to assume that Muhammad was molested in the cave.
Really?
Yeah.
Like by just some random guy or something?
Maybe it was Dihya.
Or else.
I don't know.
All right, let's get another super chat in here from Josh. Let me make it a little bit bigger so we can read it. It's quite interesting that the Catholic scholars that he brought up, I guess he's referring to John Fontaine. The Catholic scholars that he brought up was actually going against his very position. Complete shutter deception. Where is this?
That's going to be, there's plenty of material for anyone who wants to make videos afterwards.
Yeah, he cited some guy who was like sort of quoting apparently like their debate arguments as if so the Catholic was citing like some of the Islamic arguments as if and John Fontaine was like, yeah, this is what he's arguing. No, he's citing arguments they use. This is a deliberate or pretty stupid quote mine that you didn't obviously bother to go check. That's not at all what was going on. And this was pointed out in his super chat, and Fontaine had no idea what to say. He just said, no, he's agreeing with me. What? Like, no,
yeah, they're the kings and queens of quote mining. And so anyone who wants to point that out, you can pretty much go to anything they quote and go to what it actually says, and it's not going to be what they're saying it says.
Oh, one other question I wanted to ask you guys is, what has been your favorite response from Muslim apologists to the Islamic Dilemma?
By Muslim apologists?
Yeah. Yeah, what's your favorite so far that you've seen?
I love Dean Responds' response because he says like it's the red letters of the Gospels. It's what Jesus said, and I'm like, oh, okay. So Jesus does claim to be God. He claims he's going to die and resurrect multiple places. And if you just even go with Q, what's assigned to Q, it's still in there because the sign of Jonah is in there. He claims he died and resurrected to atone for sins in the end of Luke's gospel. Like there were, and so even Dean had to admit on a live stream at one point that he said like he argued something like the red letters mostly agrees with the Quran if you interpret everything properly. So even if you like just start interpreting things in the most wild, convoluted way, he still only gets mostly agrees with the Quran. It's like, well, then it contradicts. So you can still run the Islamic dilemma. Like, what are you talking about here? Like, this doesn't help you at all.
What about yours, David? What's been your favorite response you've seen so far?
No, what do you mean? Like, what do I think would be the best
favorite
response,
position?
or what?
No. Your favorite position that they've taken on what the Torah and the Injil refer to, so for example, in 1094, what were those scriptures in view? What scriptures were in view that they were reading?
Again, what do you mean by favorite? Like, what do I think is like their best response they could come up with, or what is like the funnest?
No,
or
not necessarily. I mean, you can interpret it pretty loosely, however you want.
Like Muhammad.
Yeah. No, I think IP kind of interpreted it correctly. Like IP. That was his IP. Yeah. Sorry.
I have to say, as far as like the dumbness of the response, like what's most hilarious to me, I'd probably go with John Fontaine. It's affirming phantom scriptures that were revealed, mysteriously disappeared, were re-revealed, mysteriously disappeared, and then mysteriously reappeared in one city in Medina. And then there's all this stuff throughout the Quran about them, and yet then they disappeared, and we don't have them, and so we have no way of checking the main arguments that the Quran gives. That's probably the most hilarious to me. But I could answer what I think is the best.
Okay.
And it's way rarer, and it kind of wouldn't work with Orthodox Islam. But there have been Muslim scholars who've argued that the Quran is affirming our scriptures and so on. I haven't seen them go into a lot of detail about how to reconcile things, but I think, and I've said this before, matter of fact, I just said it on Giant DOC's live stream, that if for some reason I concluded that the Quran is the word of God, if I somehow became a Muslim and believed in the Quran, I couldn't ignore the fact that the Quran affirms the previous scriptures, and therefore I would have to try and reconcile them. And so on an issue like the crucifixion of Jesus, there's only one verse in the Quran that even sounds like it's denying the crucifixion. And you've got 355, which sounds like it's affirming the crucifixion. And you've always had a minority Muslim position that's where Muslims thought that the Quran isn't denying the crucifixion. It was saying something else. It was like saying, it was denying that the Jews had victory over Jesus by crucifying him. So you had these other positions. And so if it's an issue like that, and I believed that Torah, Gospel, and Quran are all the speech of God, then I would say, okay, well, the Gospel is crystal clear on Jesus dying by crucifixion, and therefore I will have to reinterpret the Quran to make sure it's in line with these clear revelations and so on. And so you kind of have to go doctrine by doctrine and see what is most clear and see how you can harmonize. And at the end of the day, whatever you can't harmonize, you have in the Quran, Surah 5, verse 48. Allah says that he gave these different revelations with different laws to different groups, specifically so that there wouldn't be one big group and there would be separate groups because of the differences. And therefore, all these different groups could compete with each other in good works. And I would say, therefore, Allah revealed different things to different groups, and they can't be reconciled, but it's because he wants us to have different groups so that we can all compete with each other in good works. And I have to say, Muslims aren't winning that one. Mm-hmm. But I think that would be the best response for Muslims. But they don't.
Guys,
they don't
I'm getting a pretty big headache, so I'm going to take off now.
Running.
I have to take off. I have to take off in a few as well. My wife needs to. She has to get up early, so she has to go to sleep early tonight.
They're running.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool. See you later, guys.
All right. See ya.
Well then,
Yeah,
bye.
I'm just gonna put you there. What?
You muted yourself.
Why'd you mute yourself, man?
Oh, sorry about that. I just on this scene I had it muted.
So you're an
All right, let's get-
alcoholic?
Yeah, well, I don't know that I would have considered myself an alcoholic. You missed this during the very
Typical
beginning of the
Italian.
stream.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, but I was self-medicating alcohol for like headaches and stuff and migraines. So I was drinking a lot every night because I would get
Doesn't that make them
headaches
worse
and-
because it like dehydrates you?
No, I was drinking a lot of water too. So I was like trying to like use it in a real like medicative sense. But I was just drinking too much of it, and I figured out better, healthier ways to deal with it. So I consider it sober because I was drinking every day and I was drinking a lot every day. So, but yeah, now I don't anymore. What about you? Do you guys drink?
I have a huge advantage because I come from an entire family of alcoholics. I mean, my dad drank himself to death, and
Like literally?
basically everyone, yeah, everyone in my family is either, well, not my grandmother on my mom's side. I mean, they're all dead, but she died and wasn't an addict. Everyone else is either an alcoholic or a drug addict or both. I had a good advantage in that alcohol just tasted disgusting to me. It tasted like fermented cat urine or something like that. So I didn't like want to drink it and so on. And when I was young, being extremely absorbed in myself and thinking I was superior to all other people, I was pretty immune to peer pressure. So I never got into drinking or drugs because of peer pressure. As far as drinking, I do, and this has been since I was a kid, I do have problems going to sleep. Like it can take me hours and hours to go to sleep. And I can get insomnia where I can't fall asleep at all for days apart from just like nodding or something like this. And for anyone who hasn't had insomnia, it's just, you keep getting more and more tired. You just never, ever fall asleep. And then you'll be up all night. And then it's the next day when you have to get stuff done and you can't get stuff done because you feel like crap, but you're still not falling asleep. And so, and it sucks. So, you can't just take Ambien forever, because it's an addictive substance. You're supposed to take it for a short period of time when it's, so anyway, but if you're taking Ambien for like a week or two, then you stop, then it's even worse and stuff like that. So anyway, I will sometimes down a glass of whiskey or something like that, because it will make me fall asleep way quicker. So, but that's
I thought you just said it gives you sleeping problems.
What? No. What?
Oh, I thought you said it gives you insomnia. Did you not say that? No. I've always had trouble sleeping since I was young. It takes me a long time to fall asleep. And then I wake up really easily and then I can't fall back asleep and so on. So I would take Ambien, especially when I'm traveling. I take Ambien because I definitely need to fall asleep. But when you take an Ambien for a while, like if you go on a trip and you take an Ambien every day and you come back and then I have to not take Ambien, then you really can't fall asleep at all. Then you can't, it's worse. And so start chugging whiskey, man. Conk right out. Yeah, no, it was messing with my sleep too, because alcohol does affect your REM cycle, I think. So yeah,
that's what
it was rough.
everything like all Ambien, alcohol, all that stuff, it'll help knock you out, but you're not getting the best quality sleep.
Yeah. AP, do you drink?
Very rarely. There was a time that I used to drink much more, quite frequently. Nowadays, I barely ever drink. I never buy alcohol. It's only if I go to an event or something then I occasionally drink.
Partic.
That's it. Yeah.
That's just whiskey right there from David. Just a whole thing.
Straight vodka.
No.
Yeah, no, that's my story. It's not too crazy.
Hey, you know what was funny? This one time, this was years ago, but this one time I had insomnia, just couldn't sleep, was getting more and more tired. It was awful. And then it was like 3:00 in the morning. This is when we lived in the Bronx. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and I took a big water bottle, and I just filled it up with whiskey. Right, I'm gonna walk. I'm just gonna go out walking, and I'm gonna walk and just be drinking this until I can tell I'm ready to pass out, and then I'll go home. Anyway, I'm sitting there walking around with a water bottle full of whiskey, walking around the Bronx and stuff, and I'm finally like, I'm all messed up, and I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna fall asleep now. And I go and I'm walking across an intersection, and all of a sudden a car goes, someone yells out a car window, "Hey, are you David Wood?" And I turn around, like, "Hey, I know you're from YouTube." They want to start a conversation. I'm like totally messed up on whiskey, ready to pass out. But, I just thought that was funny. Like 3:00 in the morning in the Bronx. I've got insomnia. I'm chugging whiskey because I need to fall asleep. And hey,
oh my gosh! So this wasn't that long ago then.
This was the Bronx, man. So this was probably like 9 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, you've been doing this a long time.
He's an old man, man.
I'm an old geezer, man.
Yeah, you are. All right, let's do some more super chats. Starch Manning says, why do some evangelical white churches have a problem admitting C.K. Charlie Kirk supported supremacist ideas when we have a history of supremacy in the church? Yeah, a bit off topic. AP, do you have any thoughts on this? Otherwise, we can.
What do you?
Are
they saying?
Ideas?
Yeah, are they saying Charlie Kirk was a white supremacist? Because that makes zero sense given what he said.
What kind of supremacist
ideas? Yeah, I do wonder what he's referring to.
Yeah, you hear people saying he was a white supremacist if you look at what he actually said. So he had problems with like affirmative action and so on. But Charlie Kirk believed that race is a social construct. It's not a real thing. There are real features, like there are real differences in skin color and stuff. But as far as lumping people together in groups and saying this is your group based on these features, he said that's a social construct. You could lump people together. You could lump people together based on height or intelligence or whatever. The way you're lumping people together and saying this is your group and that's your group and so on, it's a social construct. So he didn't believe that it's real. And so the idea that he was a white supremacist, I mean, no, as a matter of fact, there's an awesome video clip. I can send it to you. We could watch it real quick if you want to, Cameron. But there's an awesome video clip where a white supremacist showed up and started, "Hey, the founding fathers wanted this to be a white country." And Charlie annihilated the guy. I mean, he annihilated him.
And he said that
we don't have to.
We're not conservative. Your values aren't conservatism. So, show me where Charlie Kirk ever had so-called supremacist ideas. I mean, if by supremacist ideas you're saying that if he held that something is superior to the other or supreme, then I guess we all have supremacist ideas. The only thing that he did believe was that some cultures are above others. Some cultures are better than others. I believe that too. I'm pretty sure that all of us believe that here. So
that I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starch Manning sent in another super chat.
I remember this is before your time. This is before your time, Cameron. But this was probably like 2008, 2009. This is when Geert Wilders was becoming popular. He's what is he? Danish? Is he Danish, AP? What is that? Is he Dutch or Danish? Dutch. Okay. So yeah, he's a Dutch politician, and then he was being interviewed, and they're like, and so do you think that your culture's better? And he goes, all I'm saying is that European culture is superior to retarded Islamic culture. And the interviewer goes, did you just call Islamic culture retarded? It's funny as a politician, he says retarded Islamic culture. Anyway.
Wow. So Starch Manning,
his culture better.
Starch Manning had a response to what you just pointed out, David. Great replacement theory, race as a construct.
Race as a construct is not supremacist. I don't know what you're talking about. And Charlie did not believe in the great replacement theory, which, in the sense of when we talk about the white supremacists or white nationalists or white separatists, as you might call them, they believe that there is an actual elaborate plot by certain elites to deliberately exterminate or get rid of the white people and replace them with black people and with others, for example. Charlie did not believe in such a thing. So that is something that people like Fuentes believe, for example.
That's not white supremacy either. I could sit here and say, hey, I believe all races are completely equal, or I don't actually believe in race, and I can believe that people are trying to get rid of white people or something like that. I mean, those aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're black, you could believe that people are trying to harm black. It doesn't mean you're a black supremacist if you think that someone's doing something to a particular race. So anyway.
But there's also nothing wrong with being a black supremacist. There's only something wrong with being a white supremacist. So, in your face.
Good point. Mark L says, please rank from best to last. Wes Huff's biceps, Cameron's hair, AP's beard, IP's reading, David Wood's sarcasm.
I would rank them David Wood's sarcasm, David Wood's sarcasm, David Wood's sarcasm, David Wood's sarcasm, and David Wood's sarcasm. Those would be my top 5.
Mine would be AP's beard, Cameron's hair, IP's reading, and that's where I stop.
Oh. Yeah, everyone's like putting theirs first. That's what I would do too. Put my hair.
Wes Huff's funny. He's like,
look at how beautiful it is.
Wes Huff's funny. He's like, I have to lift a bunch of weights and get jacked so I won't seem as nerdy. It's like, dude, you're a nerd no matter what.
He is. I mean, have you seen his videos of him like swinging around swords and stuff?
Yeah, that's like what we all did when we were kids and stuff. But he's
like got a katana.
I've got a katana. Look, I'm a ninja. Yeah. I'm gonna go to ninja school and be a ninja.
But he can actually do it. So
yeah, that makes it worse. That makes it worse.
We could all do that crap. Yeah, we could all do that crap when we were kids, and if we kept up with it,
you can't do that crap.
But what is the purpose of knowing how to do that?
Well, when
I can make a video, people won't think I'm a nerd. No,
is it for like self-defense? Is it a self-defense thing? Like, do you think that he's doing that so that he can defend himself, or is he doing that for other reasons? Like,
he thought it was cool when he was a kid, and he never grew out of it. Now he's like living the dream.
Why do you play guitar? Why do you play guitar?
Why do I play guitar?
Yeah.
I don't really play anymore. I used to.
I just have it here because I can be like Mike Winger.
I have it in my background because it means something to me. It's part of my history. But I don't really play it too much. I play it because I enjoy it. When I do play, which is very rarely.
Nice.
Cleave to Antiquity is here. He's a new Orthodox convert, which should make AP start clapping and applauding and cheering. He says, "Congrats, Cam. Thank you. Oh, I missed one. I missed a super chat. Eunuch Petsu. Eunuch. Why some Islamic nations are rich, Christians poor?
You mean why are some Islamic nations built on oceans of oil?
It's because Islam is true.
Yes.
Yeah. Some nations, and you can actually go back and look at these places before they found out they were on oceans of oil. I mean, even like Saudi Arabia, that was a pretty terrible crap hole for ever, until they found out they were on an ocean of oil.
All right, the same person says visiting a doc is a solution for mind issues. I do. That's good to know. That's
powerful.
Powerful.
Alhamdulillah.
Caleb Jackson. Congrats on 1K days of sobriety, Cam. Appreciate it.
Thank
You guys know who this is? Caleb Jackson. David, you should have him. Do you know who he is?
No.
Oh, he's the person who made the super chat.
He is.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
He is.
He made the super chat.
He's writing a book right now on miracles. He's really cool. He has like hundreds of miracle cases that are really, really well evidenced. And he was actually helping me out with the channel that I started, Miraculous Mysteries, where we were covering different topics like that. But he's really cool. You guys should have him on.
Better than Keener?
Try to work with him. I think he is actually better than Keener, because Keener didn't go too deep into his sources. Like if you actually read his books and stuff.
Hey, Caleb. Just want to run this idea by you, because I had an idea that would be fun that I thought of years ago. You're probably too young to remember. There was a show called Scooby-Doo, and they rolled around in the mystery machine and stuff like that and solved mysteries. Thought it'd be fun to have a YouTube series called Miracle Hunters, and you got a van, and it's like the miracle mobile down the side or something like this, and you go around and investigate miracle claims. So these ones that you're investigating, you actually show up in a van, and we point cameras, and we get people, and we do interviews, and we say, we want to see the documents, we want to see this, we want to see the x-rays, we want to see the x-rays that were, before this, problem went away or something like this. And then put it all together, and then we classify them like, hey, this seems like a miracle, or we can't really tell, or anyway. Thought that was a
Seems
fun
expensive.
idea.
Seems expensive. It'd be an expensive project. You got to buy a van.
It would be self-sustaining. It would be self-sustaining because it would be a popular series.
Okay.
Miracle Hunters. Could have a whole channel.
Nice.
No, we were out. My wife and I were out in California, and we stayed at someone's house. This was years ago, and the son wasn't there, but the mom was telling us the story. She said her son always had terrible, like horrible vision, and she showed us like these thick Coke bottle glasses and stuff. And then one day, her kid got hit by a car out in the road, and apparently just got like crushed and was in the hospital, and they were saying he had massive internal organ damage and stuff like this. And all of a sudden the kid like snapped out of it, and he said, Jesus healed me. And she said, and after that he had 20/20 vision, and like he was completely healed of everything. So anyway, that's the story. I'm thinking, oh, that sounds cool, and I believe in miracles. So, but it's kind of something I would have liked to investigate, right? Like, okay, let me see the medical records and stuff. I want to see all this. But anyway, do a whole show like that.
Yeah, that's cool. You can even focus on like canonization stuff, because they usually have medical documentation for the miracles associated with the saints. It's pretty cool. We are out of super chats, so we can go ahead and start to wrap things up. I know, David, you said you've got to go soon anyways, so didn't intend for this to be too long of a stream. Just wanted to, just hang out and celebrate some days of sobriety. So, we did have one more super chat that was just sent in. Let's get through that one, and then we'll close it out. Here it is. MT, one sec, says, David, so you were an alcoholic.
Oh, I think that was earlier when I go, so you were an alcoholic?
Oh, yeah. Oh. So funny, David. So funny. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap things up. And I am really excited. I've got a script ready to go. Well, no, I've already recorded it. I'm working on it right now. You guys might be interested in it when I release it. It's on a Syriac patriarch, and I think it's the first formulation of the Islamic Dilemma that's ever been found. And it was included in a recent paper that was just recently published in an edited edition of, it wasn't a journal, it was an edited compilation of papers And it's really interesting. It's really cool. It's really cool to see how he formulated it, because he was a Syriac Christian living just 100 years after Muhammad, and he appeals to Surah 1094 and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, there is some awesome stuff. Someone else sent me a response from, I forget what it was, some emperor or something like this was responding to Muslims and stuff, but he like went through all their stuff and was schooling them, but it was similar. It's like quoting their stuff left and right and stuff like this and using it to expose them. But he also brought up the Islamic dilemma. It's just, I don't know. It's always interesting to me that we think we know so much more, and it's like those guys just seem pretty sharp and on the ball back then.
Yeah, dude, this guy was so he produced a commentary on on Matthew, and he was talking about reliability, and he was addressing the charge of tarif, of corruption. How do you say that, by the way? Because I don't think I said it correctly. Is it just
tarif? Yeah, you gotta learn the tarif.
Tarif. Okay.
But
he was addressing the charge of tarif and tarif.
Yeah,
and
but
so he was.
Seriously, at the end of the day, if you just say tarif, no one's gonna object that you're not aspirating enough.
Tarif.
You and that doctrine of tariff.
So he was addressing the doctrine of tarif, and he goes through some arguments for gospel reliability and uses the Quran to establish gospel reliability, and then also gives some positive arguments for the gospels being reliable. So I go through that in my video. It's pretty cool. I'll release that in the next day or so. So pretty cool stuff.
Based.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys joining and hanging out, and and all the super chats, and for everyone watching. So appreciate it.
All right.
See you guys later.
See y'all.
Peace out.